My brother-in-law's wife demanded I delete photos of my sister because she felt insecure. When I refused, I called her insanely entitled, and now the family is furious. My late sister Anna was married to my best friend, Josh. Together they had 2 children. My niece is 9 and my nephew is 7. Anna died 3 years ago. Josh remarried 1 year ago. His current wife is Hazel. I'll confess it has been awkward, uncomfortable, and my Bill has admitted that he feels it too. So we're still close, still best friends too, but it's weird and hurts sometimes to see him with someone else. I'm happy he's happy, but Anna was my sister, so the emotions are a lot more complex. He understands. My niece and nephew have struggled to accept Hazel. My nephew doesn't really remember his mom, but my niece talks about her a lot, and Bill talks about her too. He has never wanted to forget her, erase her, or let her memory fade. Hazel and I get along okay. We're not close. I admit that we don't really talk or engage much. There have been some weird moments. She didn't love me and my family being at the wedding or taking care of the kids that day, Bill asked. She had wanted her parents to take care of the kids. She has also said she finds it weird that I'm Anna's brother. While I struggle with Josh being married to someone who isn't Anna, but I'm also happy for his happiness. A week ago, Hazel and I got into a fight, and it has caused some extra tension. She told me she was uncomfortable in my house, and that I needed to remove the family photos of Anna, Josh, and the kids, and Anna and Josh's wedding photos. And even mine, because Anna and Josh were in them too. I laughed at first, thinking she couldn't be serious, but she was. She said she always looks to see if I still have them, and then said I should take them down and put up some of them, her and Josh and the kids. She also wanted me to remove the wall of Anna's art in our dining room. This is different paintings, drawings Anna did for us over the years. She told me Anna's dead. Anna's the past and she, Hazel, is the future. I told her Anna is my sister, not her, and I can have photos of my sister in my home if I want to. She told me I can't deny her this, because I even have childhood photos of Anna on the walls and she's letting them go, even though she feels they should be gone too. She said the kids see themselves in her kid photos, and it's making it harder for her to get into their hearts. She told me I have no right to make her so uncomfortable. I said she should not be this insanely entitled at her age, 32. That she should be grown enough to know she can't dictate other people's houses. Josh came in and asked Hazel to go home early. He asked me to have the kids 3 days last week too, which we did. Hazel didn't like it, and she accused me of taking the kids out of spite, so I can fill their heads with talk about Anna. She called me an asshole and an insensitive jerk. Next story.
I confronted my neighbor after she was rude to my son during trick or treat over a rule I'd never heard of. Now she's upset and claims I was out of line. I, 27F, took my 4-year-old son trick or treating on Halloween, as normal parents do. He was so adorable in his costume and his joy was infectious. We went along, house after house, lots of smiles, exclamations of how cute he was, and of course loads of candy. Then we came to one house. We rang the bell. Initially there was no answer, but I could see there were lights on in the house, so clearly people were home. Also, I heard shuffling behind the door. Clearly they were looking through the peephole to see who was there. I rang again. Then after 2 more minutes, I rang a 3rd time, and the woman opened the door with a nasty look, and before my son could even say trick or treat, she pointed to her porch light and rudely said porch light off means don't ring here, and started to close the door. The look on my little boy's face was so heartbreaking. I could not let that nastiness slide. Plus, I had never heard of such a rule and told her so, and asked how she could break a little boy's heart like that. So they repeated the rule and said she didn't have any candy anyway, and to please leave her alone. I asked what kind of idiot doesn't make sure to have some bare minimum candy around on Oct 31st, like use a damn calendar. She said not everyone wants to be part of Halloween and slammed the door in my face. I comforted my poor son, explained some people are just terrible Grinches, and we moved on to a few more houses, but the night was ruined. It got worse. I got back home and saw my phone had insane notifications. Apparently this woman had recorded the whole interaction on her door camera and posted it to the local neighborhood Facebook group. Anyway, the backlash was so bad I had to leave the group. I'm still getting horrible DMs. Apparently the porch light rule is real. It's a way to signal you're opting out of Halloween. Who Tef wants to opt out of Halloween. Even my husband won't back me up. He knew the rule, and while he's sympathetic to the social media abuse I'm getting, he said it was stupid of me to engage when she clearly didn't want to participate. I'm upset he thinks I should have let rudeness against our little boy slide. Eta for confronting this rude woman.
Next story.
I told my sister she had to choose between Maine and her fiance for my wedding after he disrespected me. Now, she's furious and accusing Maine of being unreasonable. I, 28F, am getting married in 3 months, and my fiancé, 30M, and I are both excited. We've been planning this wedding for over a year, and we want it to be a small, intimate ceremony with close friends and family. But now there's a huge issue involving my sister, 25F, and her fiancé, 27M, who I'll call Matt. For context, my sister and I have always been really close, but I've never liked Matt. He's rude, condescending, and never treats her with respect. He makes little passive-aggressive comments to her in front of us, like calling her scatterbrained or making jokes about her weight, which is completely inappropriate. She's beautiful. My sister usually brushes it off, but I know it hurts her. I've tried talking to her about it, but she insists he's just bad at joking and that he doesn't mean any harm. Things got worse at my engagement party a few months ago. Matt got drunk and made a scene. He loudly commented on how much money my fiance's family must have. They're comfortable, but it's not something we flaunt. Then, he made a snide comment about how I was lucky to lock down a guy like him since I'm not exactly a catch. My fiancé was furious, but we decided to let it go for the sake of my sister. Fast forward to last week, we sent out our wedding invitations. A couple of days later, I got a call from my sister. She was really upset because I didn't invite Matt. I told her that after what happened at the engagement party, I didn't feel comfortable having him at the wedding. I want my day to be filled with love and positivity, and I don't want to risk Matt causing another scene. She told me that she can't come to my wedding if Matt isn't invited. She feels like I'm forcing her to choose between her fiancé and her family, and that it's unfair because he's going to be her husband. I told her I love her and I want her there, but I'm standing by my decision not to invite Matt. Now my mom and dad are getting involved, saying I should just invite him to avoid family drama. So my fiancé supports my decision, but my sister is saying I'm being unreasonable and is threatening not to come to the wedding at all. I'd for not inviting Matt and potentially making my sister choose between me and her fiancé.
Next story. I went off on my fiancé and banned her cousin from our wedding after he crossed the line. Now she's saying I overreacted and threatening to call off the wedding. My 23M, fiancée Jana, 24F, and her cousin Todd, 21M, have always been close, and he's basically like a younger brother to her. When Todd came out his 9th grade year, his parents kicked him out, and he moved in with her and his aunt and uncle for a while. He met my brother Julian, 20M, then, and they started seeing each other no too long afterwards. I didn't necessarily like the way Todd treated Julian sometimes, and Julian had some weird soccer accidents sometimes, but Jana convinced me to stay out of it, and Julian hadn't told me anything major. They stayed together through high school and they moved in together for college. Last year, a few weeks after his 19th birthday, Julian had a breakdown and ran home. Had quit school and soccer, and he refused to talk about why, and of course Todd had no answers other than stress. Julian had even started getting the bed again. I knew something more had happened, but Julian didn't want to talk about it. He's been in therapy and has been doing better. When Jana told me she wanted Todd at the wedding, I told her no, and I didn't want him around Julian. She tells me that it's not fair. Yesterday she brings Todd home knowing Julian is there. I'm like, what is he doing here? And I'm trying to get her to take him somewhere else. She starts going off on me, saying I don't even know what happened last year, and she brought Todd to show me it had nothing to do with him. Julian overheard us, and when he saw Todd, he literally pissed himself and ran upstairs. I yelled at her to get out, and that Todd was banned from the wedding. I told her she didn't have any right bringing him around. She tells me it's her place too, and Todd is her family.